guys, welcome back to an episode of Off the Shelf. I am Russell Time HD, and this week, what we found off the shelf was...
Listen up! This is the new engineer. It's that genius we've been hearing all about.
Jiro Horikoshi, I am very happy to be here.
I just want to create beautiful airplanes.
Is the wind still rising?
It sure is.
The Wind Rises, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, released in 2013. This film is a fictionalized biographical film based on, loosely, as I said, fictionally based, on the life of Jiro Horikoshi. I believe that's how you say it. Sorry if I said it wrong, or sorry if I mispronounced it. But this film, I'm just going to jump straight into it. This film is it takes place in around mid-late 1930s, early 1940s. And this film is also a bit of a love story as well. I'll touch on that later. So, Jiro, if you don't know who he is he was a Japanese aircraft engineer who made the Zero and the Raiden. If you haven't heard of those, I've heard of the Zero at least, which I think is, in my opinion, a pretty iconic aircraft in the way of Japanese engineering. And overall, just classic World War II aircrafts. I'm pretty sure the Zero is pretty up there. And he was a pretty brilliant engineer at the time. He came up with a lot of great ideas, and he really worked with a lot of stuff. And obviously, some people might complain about the side that it's touching on, but I personally believe that the film, it's fine, because I don't think it romanticizes the violence or the things that the bad things that the Japanese Empire did back in the 40s or in the 30s in World War II, so I'm fine with it, because it doesn't romanticize it, and it's just history, right? That's like saying, oh, we should erase everything bad from history because it might offend some people. Like, it's history, and you have to acknowledge it, right? Learn from our mistakes. That's why we teach history, is to learn from our mistakes. And I think this film is perfectly fine, and I think it even does it, I think, from an outsider looking in, I think it does it rather respectfully, and I don't think it did anything too, bad. But now, walking away from that, let's touch on the plot of this film. So basically, it follows our main character, Jiro, as he grows from just a boy in university to eventually a full-on engineer in a Japanese aircraft company. And it follows also a love story develops from a woman that he met on a train. So I've touched on the war part of this film, but let's touch on the romance, the love story of this film. Now, there is a girl that he meets on, a lot of times throughout the film, or, this family, this girl specifically. He meets her a lot of times throughout his life, or, at least their presence is felt, right? So when the movie starts, there's, a big there's a big earthquake, right? And he's on a train, and this girl, the same girl, and her mother are on this same train that he's on. And if it wasn't for him, getting the girl and her mother to safety, mainly the mother, because she had broken her leg, and he gets them somewhere safe, and he goes over to where they can go to her family and they can get her back to the house. If it wasn't for him, they would have died, and they're grateful. But years and years later, eventually the mother sends him a letter, and he tries to reconnect, but he goes back to the village and it's fucking destroyed, it's reduced to rubble, right? And he just kind of was oh well, guess I'm not going to see him again, essentially. And then after he graduates uni, he then becomes an engineer, as I said, at an aircraft company. And then after he then is sent on a expedition, on a mission, after exploring the world while still studying, he meets her again, and she is staying at the same hotel that he is staying at. They're both at the same hotel. And they start to blossom feelings for each other, and eventually they fall in love, but they separate, and then they come back together. Well, they don't they separate from geographically, not You know what I mean? But they split up geographically, and then he's like, they're like sending like mail to each other, and then but it comes out she mails him that her mother had died of TB before her, but then she had contracted tuberculosis, so he like immediately runs to visit her, and eventually it's at the point where she doesn't have a lot of time left so now they are just trying to make the most of the time that she has left, right? They're trying to do the best they can with, her dying of tuberculosis. And back then that was just bad, real bad. Tuberculosis, not good, obviously. But even by the end of the film, it ends on a pretty, like, bittersweet note, because he's having, like, the final scene is him having dreams. And by the way, I forgot to mention, throughout the film, when important moments happen, he's having these big, fantastical dreams with this Italian aircraft engineer like him, right? And this guy, he gives him advice, and he talks to him about all these things, and he gives him all this advice, and he talks to him, like, a lot about philosophy and, planes and all the things. The wind rising, a lot, they talk about that a lot. But then at the end, she's there in his dream, so it's kind of insinuating she might be, like, communicating to him, like, through the afterlife, possibly. That might be, like, what they're talking about. I don't know. It's not really said how, but she's there, and she, like, says, you must live on, right? And she, like, floats off, and, like, she, like, kind of floats up into the sky, and she, like, disappears. And it ends on that. But also there's a bunch of other stuff. There's obviously the World War II stuff that's happening in the background. There is a German guy that he meets at the hotel that he becomes friends with. That just, he's like, apparently he fled, or he was trying to flee, because he was shown to be a bit of a free thinker, that he thought that Hitler, I don't know if I can say that, I hope I can, but that Hitler was a bad guy, that he was a hooligan. Him and his guys were hooligans, right? So he was a bit of a free thinker, but they kind of leave it to, was he, like, dealt with, or did he flee? We never really know. And overall, the film just has, like, to me, the story just feels very cozy. I really like the interactions with the characters. Like, they feel like people, right? And that's what I like about it. Or at least, like, I don't know, the story just, like, makes me feel comfortable. It makes me feel relaxed, cozy, and just kind of want to sit back and just enjoy the story. Like, just enjoy the little details, enjoy the beautifully, like, hand-painted backgrounds, enjoy the animation, enjoy the conversations with these characters. Like, it really gets me invested, and it really makes me feel something, right? And I just really, really like this movie. One thing I would also say about this movie is that, unlike all the other Miyazaki films that I have seen, this one isn't, like, fantasy-based at all. I mean, obviously you have, like, the dream sequences, but those are just dreams. Like, all the other Miyazaki films that I've seen have had, like, some kind of fantastical element to them, spirits, weird stuff going on. But this one really is, like, just a straight-up drama. Like, it's just, like, regular for the most, like, yeah, just normal. Like, there's not any spirits or weird guys in bird suits. There's, like, no weird other dimension or other universe or whatever going on. It's just a guy who is an aircraft engineer, which I think is quite interesting about how this film is just kind of a normal drama, which I can grow to appreciate, because maybe I think that added to the film. I don't think it needed all that fantastical stuff, obviously also being based off a real person. Stepping away from the story bits and all that, let's get into the animation. Let's get into the animation. Now, the animation in this film, as always with a Miyazaki film, or as always with any of these G-Kids movies, is fucking beautiful, right? Absolutely gorgeous. The hand-painted backgrounds, whenever he would, like, draw on paper and they would actually, like, animate him sketching or, like, scribbling on a paper, or, like, when he would draw a line, like, they'd actually animate that. And it just, like, the skies, dude, the skies were just mesmerizing. The rain, everything just also felt cozy and gorgeous and beautiful. Absolutely stunning. But what do you expect from a Hayao Miyazaki film to be completely real? This is just what you expect from any of these films. And yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Probably, I mean, this is why I like 2D animation. I think I prefer 2D animation because it just it 3D animation just doesn't have the same vibe, you know. 2D just has that, just it's more cozy. I don't know. I just keep saying that, but you know, it just makes me feel at home. You know, it makes me feel like I know these people, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me feel connected with these people that I wouldn't otherwise. I don't know. I just really, really like it. It gives me a warm feeling. And, yeah. With all that being said, gorgeous animation. Now, let's get into recommendations. Would I recommend this film? Absolutely. I think you should definitely go out and watch this film. I think it is amazing. I think it's just gorgeous, beautiful, and just a great movie. Highly, highly recommend it. No matter who you are, I think there is somebody out, like anybody could get enjoyment out of this film. Anyone. So highly, highly recommend it. And with that being said, I think I'd rate this film an 8.5 out of 10. Very, very enjoyable. Very much liked it. Would recommend it. And, yeah. I think that's something to say. I think that's something peace. So, guys, I hope you all liked this video. Share with friends, subscribe, turn the notifications on, comment below and mention you liked it. And I've been Runtime HD. Rising off. Wind rising off. 'Cause the wind, you know. The wind rising, you know. The wind rises. Like that's the name of the movie. It's the name of the movie, guys. It's crazy. It's so crazy.